We're all connected, and it's very easy to shy away from people who are not well. And I know it's difficult sometimes because our fear takes a grip. But what I found is that if people are just willing to go out to the cinema or come around for a cup of tea or just be there best they can, it really makes a profound difference. Treat them to something. I got treated to a massage the other day by some very, very nice and kind people here, and it just makes all the difference. Just keep relating people to people as people rather than their illness. You know, and when you get sick, it's in a very emotional time, and you can react to things, and you can sometimes experience despair. But there's nothing to be frightened of. It's just emotions, you know, give them a hug, you know, but don't ignore them. And try not to add your drama to your not being able to deal with the situation. There's always a way forward. You can always be there and not suffer. And so if you know someone in your life who's isolated or dealing with something, or even dealing with something that really, you know, makes you uncomfortable, remember that might be you one day. And be kind. Kindness is the biggest gift you can give someone, and forgiveness, and, you know, something that's really is the difference between us and the animals, is that we can fight, get angry, but we have the ability to recognize when to put aside differences and just relate to people with dignity and grace, especially when their life's at stake. I've had the most interesting journey, and hey, I forgot something. When I was talking about the difference between us and animals, the difference apparently, I went to a workshop with Deepak Chopra last year for an afternoon, and he was sharing about that the reptilian brain, the part of us that is automatic, that is survival based, has evolved, and we have an amygdala and hippocampus, and the amygdala center allows us to have emotions, and this is what makes us human. And I was reading today something that he said in that workshop, which was that if you provide deep listening, it warms the amygdala and cools down the hippocampus, and this actually heals, allows for something possible. So deep listening and really being present in the moment and being there for someone and each other versus reacting or staying in the drama of the mind can provide something really extraordinary. So that may be something you could practice. Just thought I'd mention it. And he also said something that was very interesting in that workshop. It was about neoplasticity, which is the quantum level of understanding of who we are, our brains and beings and energy of our existence. and he's working as a consultant at Gallup. Hello, shalom. Okay, that was food. I'm back. So he was working as a consultant at Gallup, and he was saying something like they're doing studies on happiness, and that in the workplace, what they showed was that how productive people are with their work environment. So it's very important to listen to the employees, and what they found around health and well-being and how many people had days off sick was that people were healthier with an argument than just ignoring them or cutting them off. That in fact ignoring, cutting off people caused more well-being issues than listening or appreciating and complimenting and actually finding ways to empower people. So I think this is really important, particularly in my life, as once somebody ignores you or cuts you off, it is the worst feeling on the planet, because there's no way, there's nothing you can do. It's like complete control. It dominates you, it suppresses you, it's an oppression, and it's an invalidation of your existence. And it is the lowest, as far as I'm concerned, the lowest form of vibrational capacity. And there's always a way to communicate, whether it's email or, with somebody else there. That's what I would recommend. I've invited people to do that before, like, listen, we don't seem to be able to work this out, and let's have somebody come and be with us. And I think that's a very important thing to do. And I had a long conversation with somebody I was sharing chemotherapy with, or lipoplatin, I should say, treatment with, who is very wise. And we were talking about the internet, about the culture of the internet, how it's very easy with texting and Twitter and Facebook to hide behind communication that has no responsibility, heart, or real personal connection. That there's a bit of a breakdown. I just missed out, and people say things to people on the internet, text, mobile, email, that they would never say to a person in person. And that's really the breakdown, that people seem to have replaced real face-to-face communication with hiding behind. It's a very cowardice way of communicating, they were saying. That really, if there's a breakdown, really there is only one way to resolve things, is in person. And even this sort of video blog, as much as it can come across, if you're with me in this room, you feel the energy of who I am. You can see my body language, you can see my eyes, you can hear my voice in the way it is. It gets changed in videos. And it's really important. If you have misunderstandings, a situation where you can't quite hear what's been said, or people are reading into written word, it's very complicated, written word. You can say things as clear as you want to, but people will add their stuff, and there's no dialogue about, hey, when you said that, did you mean this? It's really important for any relationship, and particularly for our collective consciousness, to notice the resistance to resolving things. And, you know, it also causes a lot of suffering for the other person, because if you get cut off, it's one-sided, and there's no way to, there's no closure. And actually, I was watching The Hoff on Piers Morgan, and he said it is the cruelest thing you can do to anyone, any relationship, friend or partner, or the way to end anything is the cutting off thing. It has to be the last resort. But I don't even think that's necessary. I think what you do is you get a facilitator, whether it's a counsellor or a facilitator, a friend who's support, or friend each. I don't know what it is, but my invitation to you is don't do that. It doesn't serve anyone, and all it is cowardice, not to actually deal with the human being in front of you. And our mind is very sophisticated and complicated, and the reptilian brain, as far as I can tell, is automated survival and based on fear. It's only fear. What's the worst that can happen in a situation where you sit down with a few people and work things out? Everything can be resolved in communication. All wars end. In history, they've always ended, and they may be around 100 years or so, but Rome, which wasn't built in a day, where is it now? And the Mongolian Empire, and the Aztecs, and all that stuff. The Berlin Wall came down, the Troubles ended. It is a question of how much damage are you willing to accept as acceptable before you will recognize that the only way forward is in a conversation, in a dialogue, and that the other side of that is peace. And of course, peace begins with us, and it makes a difference. But you know what? We are individuals in our experience, but collectively we are interconnected. And I love Thich Nhat Hanh, who talks about interbeing. There's a lot of people who are engaged in the law of attraction and spiritual new thought, and there's a big push towards cutting people off and getting rid of that toxicity. We are collectively the creation of that toxicity, and yes, if you're being abused, then walk away and find a solicitor to be the mediator with you there. But really, if we listen, there's always, underneath everything, the only issue is that somewhere, someplace, someone, we are not listening or not hearing, and people are feeling they're not getting heard. And we can only hear people if we are willing to expand our perception of reality, because our perception of reality is determined by our history, our reactive histories, our understanding of the world, and we tend to surround ourselves with people who agree with our view of the world, which is okay. But if we're looking at a world that works for all of us, and that includes if you're in good shape, we have to be open to diversity. And a friend of mine, Julie's status on Twitter is unity and diversity. The more you expand your capacity to be with new realities, new perceptions, the more peaceful we become ourselves, and less positional and attached. And that doesn't mean not take a stand for what's right and good, and say, no, that's not okay, and hold people to account, or interact with them and work out why they're doing that. But we live in a world where we have 7 billion points of view. Which one is the right one? Now that's a question. And you can only get out of your perception of reality, your attachment to how it is, by new input. The brain will apply its knowledge and wisdom to any situation, but it's like a program running. So unless you upgrade, you input new information to old circumstances, they just keep repeating themselves. But if you have to be willing, and willingness is your free will. And no matter how hard someone can try to talk to you or each other, if they're not willing, it's over. It's a very low vibration. Curiosity is the access to our evolution, to our enlightenment. Inquiry, willingness to expand what's acceptable. It's not about accepting that it's okay to do something, like hurt somebody, like physically, emotionally, or in any way. It's about expanding our capacity to see the world from their eyes, to find a way to reach and connect the heart, such as that we can walk together in peace. When somebody has a realization of something that's driving them, it moves me to tears. And it's not a question of always self-examining or examining other people, and it's about noticing what's present and being curious about that, and not having the answer. We want the answer so that we can just put it down and forget about it. And sometimes there are no answers. There's a lot about our existence that we're only just discovering. There's a lot of about our human capacity to work as one, about the quantum field, neuroplasticity. I can't say it. Neuroplasticity. That's too funny. And the quantum field, the consciousness, the collective consciousness. And there's some very good teachers around. And, listen to them. Listen to Thich Nhat Hanh. Listen to Deepak Chopra. Listen to all of the philosophers, or anything that's being said, and engage for yourself to see what fits for you, rather than be told. But if you start listening to something and you disagree and you switch it off, then you're keeping the status quo. If you're reacting to something and you cut it off, then you're keeping the status quo. And the past, you're giving more power to the past, or that part of us that it's fearful, or can't figure it out, or it disturbs us in a way because we can't quite control it. But inside chaos, there is where the pure genius and the miracles, and when you break down the mind and bring the heart, the emotional center to bear, the most extraordinary, wonderful, beautiful things are there. in the unknown, and in a place where there is pure possibility. It's like a quantum leap into nothing, from nothing. Well, I could talk to you about that. I've worked with a few friends, not that they would admit it, but who have had profound breakthroughs and freedom in their life, and we're in it together. It's not like I have the answer, but let's try and figure things out, and let's heal not just me and you, but take care of this planet and everything that we share this planet with. Okay, I think that's all I've got to say today. And there I was thinking I had nothing to say. Bit of a ramble, but that's me. It's a part of me you don't know. All I can say is that I love you all. And how can I say that? It's because we're humanity. We're all part of the same thing, and I'm doing my best in my life to create space for the very things that have me shut down, and so I can embrace things. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but please be kind to people in your life. And there's no need for the drama. And anyway, send you a big hug. I shall speak to you soon.